Here we are in the rehearsal room of The Chairs, the Boite's new production, and I'm sitting talking to the director of The Chairs, Brian Lucas, and the star of the vehicle, Eugene Gilfedder. Brian, as the director, tell us what appealed to you about this play and how you've approached it.
The piece is, on the surface, very, very wordy and not immediately the sort of piece that you would expect someone who is primarily a choreographer to undertake. But what's really interesting about it for me is that within the language of the piece and the style of the piece are a lot of what you might call devices that are actually choreographic. The way that the playwright, Eugene Ionesco, uses the language reflects a lot of ways that I would approach movement and dance. Simple things like repetition, the rhythms of the piece, the way that the language is structured, the way that there are motifs that come and go throughout the piece with slight changes. So there's a real appeal in the way that that language actually translates to my sensibility as a choreographer and to the sort of physicality that I naturally think of.
Great. And Eugene, can you give us a little synopsis of the piece?
The synopsis. Well, basically there are these two old people. They're sort of in a lighthouse, but it's not quite certain. The whole place is surrounded by endless water. Inside this little place, this old man, this old woman are planning for a big gathering because he has a very important message to give to the world. And they await with eager anticipation. And one by one the guests come in, and eventually the guests completely crowd out the place. But the only thing is that there's no guests whatsoever. They are completely imagined and invisible people.
Do you have a favourite invisible character?
Yes, I'd like you to introduce you.
Yeah. Which one is it? Who is it? Who is it? I'd like a description, please. I'd like you to act with this character.
This is the bell.
Oh, can you spell that? B-E-double-L-E.
Yes. The fabled beauty. Can you see how beautiful she is?
There's a third character in this play, Brian, and that's the orator.
Yes.
He's the real one. Now, you chose a dancer who
Yes.
is an actor too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Without giving too much away about the nature of the piece, the orator is the character who is engaged by the old man to deliver his message, the all-important message. And it was very important that we had someone who had an understanding of the dramatic theatrical side of it, but also had the physical skills to really strongly create this character that balances out against the strength of the imaginary characters, because with the imaginary characters being so strongly conjured up by the old man and the old woman, it was really important that the orator is on par with that, someone who is physically so rich and so interesting that they match. Great chance to have someone new sort of involved in that. And of course, three fantastic actors. It's a brilliant chance to work with both Jennifer and Eugene, whose work I have seen for a long time and who I've sort of worked with Jennifer when she was dramaturg with Expressions Dance Company. But to actually get to work with them directly is fantastic.
And may I say, it's a pleasure to work with you too. And you too, Eugene, after such a long time.